Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So here's Marvel United the Infinity Gauntlet. It's going to bring Thanos and some other characters into the realm here. You're going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at right away. And what you're going to notice here is this going to be a little bit different than the other ones you're going to have. You're going to have this first 3 games and have the Infinity Battles. Here will be set up. You can kind of see what's coming. There's some special rules in here about the Infinity Stones and unlocking power-ups, etc. Because this is going to be more of a campaign than what you're used to. Then the final game, the battle against Thanos, will have its own setup, its own special rules that you'll be going through, and then this is just credits on the back. So this was very clear, didn't have any problems. It's not going to teach you how to play Marvel United, it's going to be just the content that's in here. So what are you going to get? You're going to get some new locations. You're going to have Hala. You may swap a card from your hand with one of your face-up cards in the storyline. End of turn, you may gain 1 attack token. You may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain another one. End of turn, you may place 1 action token from the pool on a threat on a power-up card. It's a Sanctum Sanctorium. Asgard, if you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand, you may draw a card. Vormir, you may KO another hero in this location, immediately clear a threat card. That's very powerful. You may discard 1 action token to draw a card in New York. Wakanda Fields, you may gain a wild token for each other hero in this location. So you can get them here, get as many heroes here as possible. You can really charge that up. Sanctuary, you may move to any other location. That's been done in other sets also. Thanos' Palace, you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain 2 attack tokens. That can be very powerful. The Quantum Tunnel, you may swap the positions of any 2 hero cards of your choice in the storyline. You may move Thanos to this location, so on Titan you can kind of move him around. You may draw cards when you have 3 in your hand. The Avengers Mansions, we've seen this power before also. So let's talk about the villains you're going to get. Ebony Maw, 4/7/10. Heroes with any crisis tokens must play their hero card randomly on their turn, then they discard 1 crisis token. So that can really screw up your plans. It says, bam, deal 1 damage, you give 1 crisis token to each hero at Ebony Maw's location. So it's going to be giving out these crisis tokens, it'll make you play your cards randomly. So less strategy here. If 1 or more of these tokens can't be added to a location, each hero in that location gets a crisis token. So he's going to be pressing those crisis tokens out so you can't plan out your turn. Then we're going to have Proxima Midnight. She's going to have 4/7/10 again. Bam, deal 1 damage to each hero in her location, discard all the bystanders from her location, increase the slaughter track by +1 the number of discarded. This is a slaughter track, and as you move up it, when you get to 12, you're going to lose. It's kind of like the Red Skull, we have this track that's going to be going up. Overflow, if 1 or more bandits tokens can't be added to a location, deal damage to each hero in her location. If a bystander can't be added to a location, you increase the slaughter track by 1 for each bystander token you couldn't add. So that can add up pretty quickly here. Then we're going to have Black Dwarf, 6/9/12, so a little bit harder energy-wise. Special rules: when a hero is KO'd, Black Dwarf doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card. His BAM is deal 1 damage to each hero in his location. Then he has an overflow of 1 or more tokens can't be added to the location, deal damage to each hero in that location. So not too tough, because if you're not in that location, you're going to be kind of swamped with that. So you can kind of plan that out a little bit if you're smart. Now, Thanos is going to be a little tougher, 7/10/14 over here to the side. Special rules. When a hero is KO'd, Thanos doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, that hero is eliminated from the game and replaced by a new hero. So he's going to snap, and you're going to be gone. His BAM is going to be deal 2 damage to each hero in his location and 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations. So very powerful. It's going to put a lot of damage out on the board. An overflow: for each bandit token that can't be added to a location, turn the leftmost bystander into a bandit. If 1 or more bandits can't be added to a location and there are no bystander tokens there, play another Master Plan card. So he's going to ramp up the difficulty and the stress level as he comes through. In a villainous plot, the heroes lose if the number of heroes eliminated from the game equals the starting number of heroes. So it's not just everybody's being eliminated 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're going to get new heroes coming out, and as they're eliminated, if it's ever how many you started with, then you will lose. You can have a new villain dashboard. Villain acts after every 2 heroes. This is all going to be exactly the same, but you can put this down. You can see the Thanos side on it. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the components that you're going to have in here. This will all come, and you can already see what's coming down in it. So you're going to have this big Infinity Gauntlet. It'll fit on your hand here. This is kind of cheap little plastic. It's not that nice. It looks pretty cool, though, and it does have a place to put all these stones on it. So that is super neat that you'll be placing these right in here as you're playing the game. And it does have that feeling of dread that's going to come up And I hesitate to put the last one on in case he wants to snap. But you can see that it looks really cool. You kind of place this down on the table, and it's going to play out exactly how you think. Very neat. And this is not very durable. You're going to be very careful with this, but the stones are very nice. Then we're going to get to 4 miniatures that we're going to have here. A lot of people came for these. You can see that this is a big, chunky one here. Looks very cool. It's going to be especially cool once it's all painted up, and it looks so good. Then we have Proxima Midnight over here. She's going to have her staff here that she's going to have. You're going to have the horns coming up, very sturdy. They're not going to bend or break on you. Simon's kind of known for their good miniatures here. Excellent there. And you have Ebony Maw and this guy. It kind of has his like 2 things coming up here from the ground, as you can see. His button up there, his hair slicked back, if you can see that right there. And he does look pretty cool with his hands outstretched. And these are all red for bad guys, but they're going to look really cool once they're all up. Thanos was a little bit smaller than I thought he would be for some reason. I don't know. He fits in with everybody else, I suppose. But I thought he might be a little bit larger. And he's got his gauntlet coming up. Even though you have the extra gauntlet that you're going to be playing with, he's got his on and he's ready to go forward. So you're going to have these power-up cards that you'll be able to utilize. I'll explain what these work a little bit later, but I just want to show them to you that you're going to have here. Then you're going to have the stones, the Space Stone, Mind Stone, Soul Stone, Reality Stone, Time Stone, and the Power Stone. And these will all be included, just cards that you have as you're going through. So let's go through the cards that you're going to have here. We'll take out the player cards that you're going to have. And you're going to see a movement and a bam, one bam, and then you put in some people down, put some bystanders out for him, and kind of just a normal course of business that you're used to seeing. Moving around, some bams that will be put out, and some people. Deal 1 damage to each hero in his location and adjacent locations. Each hero in his Black Dwarfs and adjacent locations. Black Dwarf heals up to 3 health, up to a starting value. If he's at full health, deal damage to each hero in his location. Same thing again. Then you're going to have the threat cards that will be here. As long as at least 1 super tough is in play, he ignores 1 damage each turn. Same thing again. Chain Hammer. As long as at least 1 Chain Hammer is in play, Black Dwarf, bam, also deals 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations. There's 2 of those. And his Charge. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location, and there's 2 of those. So not terribly difficult bad guy here. He does start with some stronger health. But you can see that as more of these threats come out, you want to get rid of these threats as quickly as possible because they chain off each other. So next, let's look at Proxima Midnight. We'll take a look at her cards. Same kind of thing. She's going to be moving around, bamming, putting out bystanders and bandits as she goes. She can move around the board pretty well. And then you're going to have this move to locations with the most bystanders. Discard all of them in her location, increase her track. So that track I showed you, she's going to keep moving that up. You have a couple of those hunting spears. Cleansing, discard all the bystanders in both adjacent locations and increase the slaughter track by the number that you discarded. She's going to keep pushing that slaughter track up. Now, her threats, you're going to have 2 Masterful Fighters. While in this location, Midnight ignores the first attack against her each turn. So she can block the first one. Prisoner Camp, each bystander's location requires an extra star, a heroic action to be rescued. You get 2 of those. And Tactical Support, heroes in this location suffer 1 extra damage whenever they take damage. So she's going to try to get those bystanders out and move that slaughter track up and take you out as quickly as possible. So there's another lose condition with her. So you kind of want to manage those as quickly as you have. And having some characters that can fight with heroic actions are going to benefit beating her quite a bit. Ebony Maw is the 3rd one in the set. We're going to take a look at the cards. Once again, some movements and bans and putting things on the board. This is pretty normal. 4s and 5s. So we'll take a look at this. Move clockwise to the next location with the most heroes. So he's going to go towards whoever has the most heroes, and each hero takes a crisis token. Remember, he wants to get those crisis tokens out because they're going to build up on you. He's got Ebony Maw, Genius Intellect, immediately play a number of additional Master Plan cards equal to the total number of crisis tokens. So as those crisis tokens gear up on you, he's going to be able to play more and more cards that he's going to have here. Let's take a look at the threat cards with him. Telekinesis, you're going to deal damage to each hero in this and adjacent locations. Persuasion, each hero in this location takes 1 crisis token. If there are no heroes here, play another Master Plan card after resolving the current one. 2 of those. So that can actually add up quite a bit, adding more crisis token, and we're putting more of the Master Plan cards out. Debilitating Torture. Hero is starting to turn this location on to get actions from the previous hero card. So, the teamwork, he's going to prevent that from happening and be able to build off somebody else. I find him to be very difficult. He's a very tough one for me to beat. His health isn't that high, but his cards are very strong and they can play against. So you need the right set of characters to take him on. Last, but certainly not least, is our big man, Thanos. So, movement and a bam. Once again, he's moving around, bamming, putting out a lot of bandits here. See that? Not a lot of bystanders, a lot of bandits you're putting out. Thanos' Mercy, discard 1 bystander from his location and from both adjacent locations. So he wants to get the bystanders off the board. Mad Titan heals up to 5 health, up to his starting value, and deals a damage to each hero in his location. You get 2 of those. And then we'll take a look at the threat cards. We're going to get a Chorus Glaive here, add 2 bandits to the location, and he has a 5 health. Proxima Midnight, now in this form of BAM, discard all the bandits from this location. If there are none in this location, deal 1 damage to each hero players choose. Black Dwarf, we're seeing these guys again, right? BAM, deal 1 damage to each hero in the location. Ebony Maw, once again, to resolving the current Master Plan card, immediately play another one. That's just like the character that we just saw. And Chitauri, each bandit in the location requires 3 damage to be defeated, and you're going to have these threats that will go out. So, it can be very powerful. Thanos is very tough, and you're going to get a lot of these minions and people that are, you see further in it, going to come out. So that's kind of interesting too. Very tough guy. So the setup for this is going to be pretty easy. You're going to play 3 games with the Infinity Gauntlet. So you're going to play against 1 of each against the bad guys, and the rulebook says you can choose other bad guys, but these are the 3 that come with it: Ebony Maw, Black Dwarf, and Proxima Midnight. You have the Gauntlet without the stones in it, so you have those set aside, ready to go. You're going to have Thanos' deck set aside. You're going to take the power-ups. You're going to place 1 of these underneath the 3rd mission that you're going to have set up. And you're going to take 3 of the stones. You're going to shuffle them up. And you're going to put these in certain locations in the bad guy's deck. So we're playing against Ebony Maw. You'll put these at certain locations in the deck so the stones will come up at that time. When you draw an Infinity Stone from the villain's deck, you will put it on top of Thanos' deck. You will take the corresponding stone and you will put it into the Infinity Gauntlet. Then you will draw another Master Plan card and you're ready to go. Now, if you are to lose the game, then the other 2 or 3 stones that are in this deck will go to Thanos if you are to lose. So it's not impossible, but you want to keep those away from Thanos if at all possible by winning the scenario. If you beat him and these were still on their deck, then these would go back with the unwon Infinity Stones, and when you go play villain number 2, you'll take 3 of these and put them in. So you can see how if he got all 3 of these, there may only be 2 left for the final one. So you want to keep these out of the hand of Thanos if at all possible. Remember, this is more like a campaign game that you're doing with the Infinity Gauntlet scenario. Through the campaign, if he ends up with all 6 of these, then Thanos has won and you immediately lose. He snaps his fingers and the heroes lose. So you need to prevent this from happening as you're playing through the 3 bad guys, not letting him get his hands on all of the Infinity Stones. And as you know from the game, you're going to have a card, a mission card put underneath all of these. So you're going to take a card here and put it underneath that mission card that you're trying to obtain. Now, if you're able to get all of these symbols out, you will take this card and put it over here by Thanos. You're going to be using this in your fight against Thanos. You're going to earn this power up if you're able to make it to Thanos and have the final battle, which we're going to talk about now. So fighting Thanos is fairly easy to understand and to play, not necessarily to beat. Thanos will be the bad guy. You will now take Thanos locations that have the yellow on them from the blue. These will be out. Any power-ups that you've earned, and you have Thanos' deck. You will also put in that deck any Infinity Stones he was able to obtain throughout the first 3 battles. Shuffle this up, and that will be Thanos' deck. There are a few differences. So if Infinity Stone is drawn, you just do what it says. So now on heroes must ignore 1 movement each turn. So each one will do something different. It's played just like a Master Plan card and has a negative effect for the heroes. And these are super powerful. You want to keep, when you're fighting the first 3 bad guys, as many of these out of his deck as possible. One thing's a little bit different is that when Thanos is able to eliminate a hero and KO them, they're gone for good. Zap! They're gone. So now you have to, that hero will die off and you have to bring a new hero in. And you see that in a special rule. So when you're KO'd, there's no coming back like in the original game. You're gone. You're dead. Try a new hero out. Another thing is the power-up. So if you're playing icons and you're able to match this up, then you will be able to get the special power that you have here. So you still get to keep your attack, your movement, and your heroic action, but you're also going to have an additional wild. So earning these throughout the game is going to be very powerful. 2 heroics, I get an attack on this. So it's going to be very powerful that you can utilize, any of the players can utilize those on their turn. Otherwise, the game plays exactly the same. If you're able to defeat Thanos, get him down to the 14, get him down to 0, you're able to beat Thanos, and you are the champions, and you have won the epic Infinity Gauntlet. Now, he can be very tough, because you gotta go through 3 people, you're earning these power-ups, he's earning the stones, He's getting more powerful as it goes on. And then he has an instant win condition if he gets all of the stones before you even fight Thanos. So it's kind of an epic battle, if you will. You got some new locations you're going to be battling, the power-ups, Thanos' new condition where you KO, so a lot more people coming. So Black Widow dies, and maybe Captain America will run in. He dies, maybe Black Panther will run in. So you can have a lot of different heroes that will be coming in, and just because you start with 4 doesn't mean you're going to end with those 4. It can be quite a bloody battle. This is a fantastic expansion. If you're looking for a little bit more out of it, you want to spend an evening like, hey, I want to spend an evening with my kids, and we really love the MCU, and we really love this Thanos fight. We want to bring this to our board game table. We want it to be more than just this one battle. We want something more epic. We want to bring this in. Thanos and Infinity Gauntlet is definitely going to do this. You're going to get 4 additional really bad guys, because you can use Thanos just by himself and the other ones by yourself. You can mix and match different guys, but you'll always end with Thanos in this scenario. Now, this scenario is almost worth purchasing just to have it. Like, this is fantastic. I like this quite a bit. The quality of this isn't great, but man, this looks really cool. And as you're adding these stones to it, like, it just looks really, really neat. And as you able to put all of this power together, and you can physically see that power coming through, it's really cool that Simon made that. Now, this is not a miniature, like I said, it's just kind of just plastic. You want to be careful with it, because this will break if you're too bad. But it's pretty hard. I'm pushing down on it, and it's fine. I mean, it's not going to break just because you're throwing it around, but you do want to be careful with it. The power-ups is new. It's something new that's not in the other sets. You got the campaign that you're going through, the new locations, how you're switching them out, the bad guys that are coming up. Excellent. And then if you play through the bad guys that are in there, like I said earlier, those same bad guys in the threat deck are going to come out. And that's really neat how they do that. So, you beat some of these guys before, and they're going to pop back up. I already beat Proxima Midnight, but she's coming back for one final battle. And it feels so epic. Excellent. This is a great expansion to get into, especially if you're looking for an epic night of Marvel United.